Are we ready, sir? Are we all ready? Muy buenos dias. Thank you guys very much for coming. Today we have the forum for the Town of Taos Council candidates. Thank you very much. We are the Taos County Democratic Party, and it's my honor to introduce to you Mayor Martin Chavez.
You're right, it's not working now, and it's still green. Okay, there we go. Yeah, as I say, bear with me. I'm from Albuquerque, and which we always say is the center of the universe. Nobody agrees with that, okay. I did 12 years as mayor of Albuquerque, 5 years in New Mexico State Senate, and I am currently the national committee man for the Democratic Party in New Mexico. And so I'm very pleased to be here. This is a forum hosted by the County Democratic Party, and thank you, Mr. Chairman, and your folks for the hard work. But this is a community forum for everybody. It is a nonpartisan forum for Taoseños and everybody interested in government here. It's pretty simple. It's a forum, not a debate, so let's be gentle. As I know we will, 90 seconds for opening statements, 2 minutes to respond to each question, and then a 90-second for closing arguments at the very end of it. The chair is the timekeeper. There's also, you have the ability to write your questions down from the audience if you have questions for the candidates. Of course, you know, early voting has already started, and I was bragging to the mayor that was my bill as a state senator. So please, you know, make sure you get those votes in so that we can make sure that we're strong going into the general elections as New Mexicans. So with that, unless I've missed something, Mr. Chair, we'll go to the candidates. And our candidates are Billy Romero. Everybody knows everybody here, right? I assume. Okay, Susan Trujillo, Eugene Sanchez on the end, and Tetsuro Namba, goes by Ted, as well, is with us this evening. And as I understand the way it's going to work, Election Day, 2 of the 4 will be elected to the Taos Council. So with that, and we don't, Mr. Chair, do we have any particular order of opening? Well, let's just start on my right, and we'll go with Billy Romero. Mr. Romero.
So, my name is Billy Romero. I am running again for town council. I'm a third-generation business owner here in Taos. My family's been around since the 1930s. I've got a lot of experience in government right now. I am the current chair of construction industries for the state of New Mexico, a position I was appointed to by Governor Martinez, reappointed by Governor Grisham. I also serve on planning and zoning for Taos County. I'm the chair of Historic Preservation Commission for the Town of Taos. I've been in that position now for 2 years. I have a passion for Taos. That's why I keep going against the wishes of my wife and my family, because they say, why are you doing this? But I have a passion for what's going on here, and I think it's time for us to move forward. Let's get the economy going again in Taos, and let's start looking at how we can solve some of the issues that we've got going on right now. Thank you.
Susan Trujillo.
Good evening and welcome to this forum. My name is Susan K. Trujillo, and one of the questions that was asked was, why are you running for Taos Town Council? And
I think we're getting.
do you want me to just?
Yeah, it's just an introduction.
Okay.
And of you, and then we'll get to the questions.
I'll tell you a little bit about myself then. Again, I was born and raised in Taos, and I raised my family and my children here. And it's hard to explain how 25 years of your life has been spent in government. And that is where I started my life in government and governance, and just falling in love with not just it wasn't for me, it wasn't just a job, or it became a career, but it became I took ownership of what it was that I did. And Taos County was very gracious to me because I went in as a grant administrator, then an assistant to the county attorney for 2 years, and then as interim county manager, finance director, and then the finance director for 11 years. I took a break for a couple of years when I served 2 terms as the treasurer, and I was elected unopposed. And I'm so grateful for that opportunity because it just gave me a table of service, to be able to sit with constituents, and then in the county with department heads, and to serve well, and to bring my expertise and my passion and my credibility and myself to the people of Taos County and the town of Taos now.
Thank you. Tetsuro Namba.
Hi, my name is Tetsuro Namba. I grew up in Taos, Taos County, not Taos. Taos grew up in Costilla, Amalia, Cuesta, and we built our house in San Cristobal when I was like 12. I graduated from Taos High School. Oh man, this bike is weird. I graduated from Taos High School in 2002, and I moved away for school for many years. Lived in Oregon and then in Southern California. And about 12 years ago, I moved back. And the experience of moving back to Taos felt a little bit like at the end of Thanksgiving dinner when you've eaten too much and you unbuckle one notch on your pants and you let yourself relax a little bit. I truly felt like I came home. And I love the landscape here, I love the culture here, I love the community that we have here. And I've decided to throw my hat in this election just because I want to make sure that there are people in leadership who are willing to face the growth that we are facing and are willing to do the things that we need to do to make sure that our fundamental identity and our culture, who we are, where we come from, will be the same as where we're going. Thank you.
Thank you. Eugene Sanchez.
Thank you. My name is Eugene Sanchez, and I'm a long-life citizen of Taos, and I'm probably the senior citizen in this group. But I'm, as a longtime citizen of Taos, I have willingly participated in civil life and volunteered needed to improve the lives of my fellow Taoseños. I earned a bachelor's degree in sociology from New Mexico Highlands University in sociology and history. I served honorably in the United States Marine Corps. I retired as a juvenile probation and parole officer for the state of New Mexico 31 years ago. And at that time, I was also a licensed social worker. And for the last 10 years, I've been the alternate municipal judge for the town. I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a grandfather, and I also officiated high school athletics for 50 years. I learned from that following the rules fairly and without exceptions is critical to public trust. I was also chairman of Casa de Corazon, a youth organization that we eventually had to close our doors because we couldn't afford it anymore. And I was twice elected as president of the New Mexico Correctional Association, which was our professional organization. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I once had a friend in the middle of a campaign pose the question as to what's easy about running for office, and the answer is nothing. It's really hard, and so everyone is to be commended for throwing their hat in the ring. It's just hard work. So we'll now go to questions to our candidates on vision and motivation. And we're going to start, I think we'll just go back to you, Mr. Sanchez, to start with. Why are you running for town council? What inspired you to step forward? Why now? And what are the experiences that you bring to the table?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Why am I running for office? Well, I can tell you that for the last 20 years, I've worked with mostly every mayor in the town and volunteering my services. But recently, what has occurred is that we as citizens are no longer listened to. We can speak ourselves to death or turn blue and nothing happens. As if you've gone to any of the meetings of a town council, there's a section that says Citizens Forum. You have 5 minutes to speak. And at the end it says, and nothing will happen or nothing will be done, which is true, because once you finish with that, you never hear from the town after that, so nothing happens. I think what the important thing that we need to look in terms of the town, we need to listen to you. If it affects you, you should have a voice in that decision-making policy. We can't make a decision and then ask you to correct the ills. So you need to be part of the process, and that's the only way we can achieve success and unity within the community if everybody's attuned to the needs of the town. Additionally, we need to bring more people out. There's not too many people tonight. What happened to the locals? We're all local, but nobody's here. We need to go out and bring them so they can be part of that process. Thank you.
And I have a procedural question, Mr. Chairman. Are these two-part questions?
Each question is for each candidate, so there's a total of 6 questions. The one is on the vision, motivation, and then you're going to have the question that you just asked, then the next that'll be Billy again, and each minute.
Now, that doesn't add up. There are 8 segments here, not 6. So under vision and motivation, is it 2 separate questions, or is that 1 question? 2 separate, got it. Okay. Mr. Namba, why are you running?
So I do a lot of volunteer work with mutual aid and at food banks here in Taos. And so I see a lot of people that need help for things like food security, and I'm seeing how hard it is, how much people struggle with getting by in this town. And the sort of incidental catalyst that prompted me to run is that the Land Use Development Code is up for revision, and I would like to be a more involved person in the writing the new Land Use Development Code, because I believe that we can make some simple, smart, and effective changes that will hopefully start to open up housing stock, bring in more affordable housing, accessible housing, workforce housing, and the rent and real estate is one of the biggest things that's making Taos unaffordable, and I really want to make sure that our friends and neighbors can stay in this town by doing whatever I can to hopefully make some changes with zoning and whatnot to foster growth and develop more housing stock in this town. Yeah.
Thank you. Ms. Trujillo.
I am currently serving as a member appointed by Mayor Pascualito Maestas on the Town of Taos Finance Committee. And I saw that what Ms. Martinez had taken from what I had initiated as the treasurer to the town. She invited me to serve as a committee member, but then the mayor had to appoint me. So he so graciously appointed me to that committee. So initially what was a seed that was planted in the county transferred over to the town. And so, to me, it was just, it's something that, that just blossomed in me. So as a former employee of a government entity, I understand the complexity of government after serving, again, Taos County as an employee, serving primarily as the finance director and Taos County treasurer for 2 4-year terms. I also was employed by the Espanola municipality for one fiscal year as administrative director. Therefore, I would want to bring my expertise and experience, ethical standards, and diplomacy skills to the town of Taos as a council member. I am retired and available to serve in this capacity, and it would be my honor to humbly serve as a servant leader in my hometown and my community. And I say that only because when I see across my community as I walk, I'm raising my 80-year-old grandson, and I see how important it is to be part of the community. You see all the sports that the kids are in, and you see the parents out, you see the grandparents out. It's wonderful to have that communication and that rapport with them, and see how we can connect through those conversations and that engagement when it comes to volunteering, as we almost have to do in everyday life.
Thank you so much. Mr. Romero, why are you running?
With what I've done for the community, for the town of Taos, for the community, and for the state, I see a need for change. We've had some economic downfalls lately with the construction of the road, with a lot of stuff that happened in the plaza with COVID, and we need to start recovering from where we were at. My motivation to run is just to see that our town starts moving forward again, that we start getting away from where we had a little bit of disruption. I said, you know, during all of this time, we were able to get the road done. The plaza started to come together, but we've got bigger problems than that. I've seen, working with the planning and zoning department, with the commissions that I've been on, some of the things that we need to start looking at to change so that we can make growth possible in Taos without it being detrimental and without it being such a hard decision for businesses to come here. We don't need roadblocks. We need a clear path to start moving forward. I've been on several commissions. I've started relationships and have relationships throughout the state. I'm proud to say that I'm probably the only recipient here of a statewide proclamation by the governor from last year that deemed June 20th Billy Romero Day for the work that we do through my company, through myself, for the state of New Mexico, which was also recognized, you know, what we've done inside of the town of Taos and within Taos County. My motivation to run is that we need change. We need to move forward. We can't be where we're at. Thank you.
Thank you. And that takes us into the second question on this, and that is, you know, what do you want to preserve about Taos, and what about Taos actually needs change? So what do you see are the opportunities for improvement, and where do you believe Taos should simply stay true to its roots? And let's go to Mr. Namba on this one. I'm going to mix it up now.
Well, I've already mentioned before that you know, moving back to Taos has made me realize what a truly special place it is, and that we need to make sure that we can keep our community here. You're going to hear me say a lot about, you know, keeping it affordable, but that's truly what I care about. Taos has a long history. Taos has a long variety of histories of different cultures living here, coming here, moving here. And we have to make sure that even though there will continue to be people moving here, that we don't lose our character and who we are. And one of the ways to do that is to make sure that the people who grew up here can afford to live here, and also that people who move here who might be teachers, work in the healthcare industry, artists, people who aren't primarily just simply rich right off the bat, that they can also afford to live here. So we need to make sure that we keep our character in the uniqueness of our mountain town and its history of welcoming people in. I do think that downtown Taos should be more of a locus of our culture. I think we should bring fiestas back to the plaza. I grew up running around on the plaza, making trouble, and I think we need to make sure that the plaza is a welcoming place for everyone in this community, even troublemakers.
Yeah, thank you. And the candidates have received these questions in advance, but I'm happy to restate the question. Mr. Sanchez, you're next. What needs improvement? What should stay the same? And what are the opportunities, realistically, to improve Taos?
Thank you. What would we need to do to preserve our community? We all know that we're a tricultural community. We got Anglos, Hispanics, Native Americans, and many other, individuals. I think we need to band ourselves together to call ourselves Taoseños instead of having separate individual groups with individual needs. We all have the same needs. So we need to address that. The other thing is that we need to include our children. Our children are losing their identity. They no longer ya no hablan en español, which is very important. We need to save that traditions that we had and go. We don't have to go back 20 years or 30 or 50 years. As I can recall, and probably Judge Duran and I can go back that far and look at some of the things that we had before, where the town was the center of activities for the community. We need to bring that back together. But most importantly, we need to preserve our culture. Make sure that we still value what we were taught by our forefathers. Because gradually, if we lose our identity, we lose our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Trujillo.
The culture of Taos is known for being hospitable and inviting. But I want to add one more word, and that is the smell of good food. It's very inviting, and the music that our culture brings that attracts the people that visit Taos. Taos is rich in culture and heritage, which should be considered, especially the town of Taos, Taos Historic Plaza. I would like to call attention to the Taos Historic Plaza Cultural Landscape Report put out on September of 2016. I downloaded this report. And if I may, it's just a short paragraph, but I want to read that to you because of everything that I read in this report. This was the one that kind of captured it all. And it said, the cultural landscape of the study area, Taos Plaza, and its immediate surroundings is associated with the establishment of the town of Taos and its significance as a cultural landscape rich with history and art. Preserving and rehabilitating the study area to reestablish integrity and to protect contributing features and characteristics is a primary goal. Of equal importance is the improvement of Taos Plaza to meet contemporary needs associated with traditional use of the plaza as the center of the community. And that needs to be brought back. And because we are a relational people, and we have the Taos Pueblo, we have the Anglo community, we have the young now, and we have the Hispanic, and it's just a blend of such richness that we can only just make it better. And it serves to bring our families to this, to the town, to be able to experience what we have experienced growing up.
Thank you. This next section is around priorities and funding, not unimportant items for government. Did I leave anybody out? I haven't left anybody out, right? Okay. You can throw something at me. I'll be okay. And we're going to start with Mr. Romero. priorities and funding, what specific projects or issues will be your top priorities if elected? Which areas, such as housing, infrastructure, economic development, or public safety, need immediate attention in Taos?
So I didn't get to answer the last question, just so you know.
Yeah. Did I really leave you out?
Yeah, but that's cool. No, I'm just kidding,
Yeah, I know.
Mr. Chavez. But top priority right now is public service. I mean, safety. Public safety is something that we've really got to start concentrating on. You know, affordable housing. That's another subject, but it's a touchy subject because that's something that can't be resolved locally, especially with what's going on with cuts and what's going on with federal programs. Those are subjects that we're going to need the state, municipality, and the county to work on. The public safety with the police department, we need to make sure that we got police officers out there so that our kids are safe out here. That's one of the top priorities, is making the youth of this community safe out there. We've got the Little League that was the focus of some disagreement this last year. We've got the baseball field. We've got the hockey rink, which caught fire. There were seniors that weren't able to play in their senior game out here. So did we cost them a chance at maybe moving on or being looked at by colleges? We don't know. I mean, those are things that we're not going to be able to correct right now. We got to make the building process a lot easier here. Right now, Taos does not have a CBO, so everything gets directed towards Santa Fe and Albuquerque for building permit approvals. Infrastructure is a big deal. We've just had a brand new road put through here, and I don't know if we really did anything with infrastructure at that time. It doesn't look as there's still issues out there. We've got the homeless or unhoused population that has been, that has a negative, I don't know if you want to call it a negative effect, but we see what's happening out there with all of this going on, even statewide. The big thing right now is that how do we make our children safe? How do we make the elders safe in our community? And that is going to be with making sure that public safety is one of the things that we address, and making the process easier to get a business going. And real quick, it took my daughter-in-law 7 months to get a business licensed within the town of Taos. That's ridiculous. So we need to start looking at those.
Thank you. Susan Trujillo, what will be your immediate priorities and top issues if elected?
I wanted to expand on what the town currently is working on, and that is the affordable housing. The Chamisa Verde project, Phase 1 and Phase 2. The Filimon Sanchez Park, the $1.8 million project, which also includes locker rooms at the Echo Park, the skating rink at the Event Center, and the completion of the airport terminal. All of these are viable projects that the town has undertaken. And those completions are important to the economy and to the people of Taos County. And I believe the second part will address the funding sources for these. Did you want me to go into those, or do you?
It's up to you. Okay. You get your 90 seconds.
How would you secure funding for these priorities? The Chamisa Verde project is currently being funded by state and federal dollars. A trust fund has been set up in the budget to account for other revenue sources. The anticipated sale of Phase 1, 7 homes will fund some of the construction of the homes in Phase 2. And the second one, the Filimon Sanchez Park, the $1.8 million, a DFA resolution, number 2, fiscal year for 25-26. Final budget established a fund any budget to account for the Filimon Sanchez Park Series 2025 loan in the total amount of $8.1 million, funded by the New Mexico Finance Authority for the planning, design, and construction of a new sports complex facility. And then the third one, the skating rink at the Event Center. The town of Taos is in receipt of a New Mexico state legislative grant in the amount of $1.2 million for the renovation of the skating rink, which is at this time is under construction and should be completed by November. An upgrade to the refrigeration system is forthcoming. The completion of the airport terminal funding for the terminal is funded completely by capital outlay from the state of New Mexico and is currently under construction. So these are viable projects that the town is working on, and I'd like to be part of the completion.
Thank you, and I apologize. We have 2 minutes for each candidate to respond, not just 90 seconds. So Tetsuro Namba, what will your priorities be?
Thank you. One of the things that I would like to prioritize, and this is very dull, is infrastructure. Our sewage treatment plant needs to be looked at, and we need to make sure that it is updated and that it is sufficiently, that we have a roadmap in the future for developing it so that we can ensure that we have sewage for the town. Same with water, and also with fire safety, we need to make sure that we have enough firefighters available to cover the area that they need to cover. The other issue, the other priority that I would be really, that I am again very interested in, is the revision of the Land Use Development Code. There are some things that I would like to see added to it, including making it so that it's a lot easier to put in accessory dwelling units in La Casitas, so they can be permittable and don't require a special use permit like they're doing down in Albuquerque. Other things would be to change the definition of buildings in the different residential zones from being single-family unit to multifamily units, so that we can develop more duplexes and triplexes. These are very simple. This is very simple language that we can write into the code in order to better meet our housing needs. 60% of renters in Taos are not a family. They're either a single person or a couple. And so we need to make sure that we build housing stock and make it easier to build housing stock that meets that market specifically. So yeah, not to get too much into the weeds about that, but that's what I'm excited about.
Thank you. Eugene Sanchez, what will be your immediate priorities if elected?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First thing that we need to do is add some common sense and logic to government. We need to look at, first and foremost, I see it, is the budget. The budget has already been made until the fiscal year, which ends now on July the 1st. So how much control do you have over it? It's very difficult. There's monies coming in, but let's look at it realistically. The well is going dry. There's no more money coming in from higher ups. So we need to become fiscal conservatives and adjust the budget to serve the best interest of our community. Not spend money wisely in areas such as the infrastructure, which is a misnomer. Basically what we say, fix our streets, please. Because the thing about it, they haven't done that. You know, we have, if you look at the town and its structure, it is now as the town is just around the plaza. The town is, they pave it every other year. Do they pave our streets? No. If a bird flies and you drop something, everybody's there to clean it. But do they go and clean our streets? No. So I think we need to use common sense and logic in making sure we expand to serve the whole community, not just the plaza. We know we need tourists, but we also need to understand that we're locals. We live here, we pay taxes just as much. So we need to provide that kind of service.
So, and that feeds into the very next question, and this is, I think, a truism that anybody that's ever served in government knows, no matter what the politicians say, their priorities are in the budget. How the money is actually allocated, those are the actual priorities. And so, starting with Mr. Sanchez, let's go back. How will you fund your priorities? Are we talking about grants? Or how are you going to fund your priorities? Are we talking about grants, new taxes, cutting some programs to make room for others? How will you fund your priorities? And for those of you who don't know, local government's required by law to balance the budget.
Well, first you have to identify your priorities. and then set, you look at the cost of fulfilling those priorities. If we can't just have blanket, we're going to fix this. We should be able to set a budget that reflects the priority is established by the the mayor and the council. We can't be changed. If it needs to be changed, then you change that when you see whether the revenue that we have is sufficient to fulfill those priorities. So you adjust your budget to address those particular needs. We have the issues in terms of homeless and drugs. The thing about it, I'm going to be honest with you. I can't answer that question, and I'm sure that nobody in the audience can answer that. We have dealt with this problem for the longest period of time. It's a universal problem. So we're going to have to look at how do we address it little at a time with some logic and understanding to address it. Albuquerque, for example, has the biggest, same problem. We have the same problem. Drugs, what do we do with drugs? You can't control it. The government hasn't been able to do it. It affects our community, and most importantly, it affects our children. If we don't address that, we're going to lose the most important part of our community. Because as it is right now, we have an older members of the community, because we don't have the youth. They graduate from school and they go out to look for jobs because we don't have that. So we need to look at those things collectively to see how we can address them to better serve the community.
Very good. And I do want to assure you that we have no problems in Albuquerque. We achieved perfection some time back. So, Mr. Namba, how will you fund your priorities? You've talked about affordable housing, and you talked about the casitas and things of that nature, and you talked about homelessness. I think you mentioned it as well. But how will you fund your priorities? Public-private partnerships, state grants, federal grants? How are you going to do it?
Thanks for the question. So to be sure, the things I'm talking about is changes to the land use development code, so they'll be for private developers to make that pathway easier. In terms of funding the affordable housing projects that are going on, like Susan talked about, the ones Chimisa Verde and whatnot, those have been public-private partnerships. And if we want to talk about the budget in a larger sense, there's only a few limited tools available to us as a municipality. Of course, the gross receipts tax, which everyone knows we have the highest rate in New Mexico. The lodger's tax, which comes with strings and can only be used to fund specific projects. I do think that the town of Taos can use a more robust grant writing division. These are very boring answers. I don't have any sort of magic wand or idea where we're going to snag a pot of money. It's sort of daily municipal government grind that we will have to work through, and I look forward to doing that.
Thank you. Ms. Trujillo, how will you fund your priorities?
I mentioned those before, the 4 priorities that I had, and they were all funded by federal and state grants. But I wanted to make note of that. I responded to a questionnaire from the Taos Fire Department, and it was interesting because the first thing that I did was go on the website and look at their budget, look at the town budget, and the final budget had not been downloaded, so I had to request that it be downloaded so I could get the best, excuse me, the best answers so I could present that to them. But it's when you look at the budget, and I recommend that you go in and look at the town budget. It's interesting. The first page would give you, it captures everything, all the different funds, but a lot of them are, again, you might think we have all this money at the bottom line, But a lot of these funds are, you have the general fund, and that's for the operations of the town budget, of the town. But you also have all these restricted funds, and a lot of them are restricted by law. You can only use, they have compliance issues attached to them. You can only use them for certain, for maybe some for just personnel, others are just for equipment and infrastructure. So again, looking at a budget and hopefully it will materialize. And at the end of the day, there's a process through the procurement. It's very complex when you stop to think of what government is, and the people that are charged with that management of these budgets. They're very few, and to be able to understand and the complexity of government. And as for managers, finance directors, procurement officers, it is a select breed, and they have a huge responsibility because these are public funds. These are public monies. These are your monies. These are mine. And they're very hard earned, and we pay them, and we expect the greatest accountability and ethical standards to be applied to the use, and not just the use, but the management of the revenues that come in for the budget.
Thank you. Billy Romero, how will you fund your priorities?
Well, in this government economic environment right now, the only way that we're going to get state or federal funding now is to sufficiently allocate local matching funds. The state and federal government aren't loosely giving out money as they used to before. We're going to have to show that we're willing to match funds. We're going to have to show that, in essence, that we're taking care of ourselves so that we can start getting these funds. They're not just handing them out like they used to before. It's going to be, it's a greater task with what's going on now. The federal government is not releasing the funds the way they used to unless that the town and the municipalities are willing to hold accountability for what we're doing with your money, with the taxpayer money. I did go out to that project there behind the youth center that Mr. Mamba's been talking about. It looks like it's a project that's moving forward, but it's also behind schedule. You know, so we're going to have to make sure that we as a municipality can start co-funding a lot of these grants that they're putting out there. And with the funding that's there now, I'm not sure if we're even going to continue to get those funds if they've not already been allocated to us locally. So I think the next 4 years are going to be trying. And anybody in government, I think, has to be a little insane right now to try to get into office.
It's a good insanity. And we're going to go back in the same direction, start with you, Mr. Romero. Technology has changed as to how we communicate, and nobody exactly knows where AI is taking us, but it's a different world. How will you communicate and stay in touch with Taoseños, and what modalities, what methods will you use to communicate to make sure that you're staying connected to the community?
I think my son put you up to this because in my business I refuse the technology like crazy. But one of the key things is talking to people. I'm still going to go the old school. I meet you at the store, meet you at the restaurant, meet you having a drink. I mean, a lot of things get resolved with face-to-face communication. My phone number is going to be out there. I think it already is a lot. A lot of people in Taos know who I am, know where to get a hold of me. Social media. As far as myself personally, with the involvement I have in the community, I'm probably one of the easiest persons to get a hold of unless you're looking for me for work. Then I'm not. But, those are things that we've got to use. My phone number will always be public. To get a hold of me, you'll always be able to do that. And with technology, the way it is now, the adage of, I saw the phone and I didn't know who it is, doesn't count no more. We got to pick up our phones because they're with us all the time. We can't say I'm not available. So I will make sure that I'm available to the public, to you guys out there, whenever you have a concern or whenever you need to get a hold of me.
Ms. Trujillo, how will you stay connected to the community to make sure that you're being responsive and engaging? Yes. Yeah, we're going right back down the other way.
reaching me via telephone is almost the best. And my telephone number will be out there because it will, as a counselor, your phone number is available at all times on the website. But I wanted to bring in the audience and into a much more intimate and more engaging type of environment. And so the response that I thought of was the best method of communication and outreach to stay connected with the community is for the community to accept the standing invitation to attend the Town of Taos Council meetings. The meetings are available for access also via Zoom, and the public is encouraged to leave messages on the website regarding the different matters affecting them. It would be a road issue, weeds, potholes, street lights not working, etc. As always, the public can contact the executive office to request a meeting with a manager who will relay messages to the council or to you or the department to make sure that these issues or concerns which would be followed up. So that, again, there is always that communication that goes on in any government that you are, we serve the public, and the public we're available to the public at all times.
Mr. Namba, how will you stay connected to the community?
I will just echo what Billy and Susan said. Face to face, it's a small community. We all can talk to one another through the telephone. You'll be able to call me as well if you'd like. Come to council meetings. Some other modalities that we could talk about are things like social media. Obviously, the town can have a more robust sort of social media. It's a way in which people engage. Some of it's incredibly toxic, but it is also incredibly easy and has opened up new spaces that were not available back when we were young. Having said that, I don't want to codify into any one type of method to speak with people. Every week, I encounter a lot of the same people over and over again at the food bank who I've just gotten to know, and I used to do things like help give soup out at the park. It's another way that I have been meeting my community. So I want to make sure that we don't rely on any one method, but try to use very many methods. And I think and also an incredibly important part is that we would communicate with one another on the Town of Taos Council, that we talk to each other, say, hey, this is what I've been hearing. Hey, this is what I've seen. What have you seen? What have you been hearing? And that's an important component of making sure that our town is listened to, is that when we hear it, we share what we hear. Thanks.
Thank you. Eugene Sanchez, how do you stay connected to the community to make sure that you're responding to citizens' concerns? To you, yes.
Thank you, Mayor. I think the most important thing that we have is communications. We need to be able to communicate. How do we do that? Make yourself available. Be able to respond. We hear all the time from the administration, visit the Taos website, the Town of Taos website. How many elderly have computers to access the website? Have you ever tried to get into the website? You have to be very smart to do that, because it takes you an hour or two before you get to where you're going. And 9 out of 10 times, it's not there. So you have to develop a better way of communicating. We could also, look at maybe have a PR person, that can, provide information to the public. Or we can have a loose newsletter, run a little note, and you can write it in English and in Spanish so everybody can understand it. We need to be able to communicate directly so people can understand what we're doing. What will I do? I will be available most of the time. I'm a social fly. My wife sends me to the store. for one item, and 3 hours later she calls and says, when are you coming home? I visit everybody. I talk to everybody. And that's important, visibility. And the other thing, too, is when you get calls from a constituency, you should be, you should respond. If you do now, we have Town of Taos issued cell phones. You call them, and it goes to voicemail. Do they ever call you back? I'll be honest with you. It never happens. It hasn't happened to me, so I don't know. I'm sure it hasn't happened to anybody else. Thank you.
Thank you. And for this final section of questions before we go to audience, we're focused on collaboration and leadership. Let's just start with you, Mr. Sanchez, and come back this way. Where do you believe the town of Taos can have the greatest influence or impact? In which areas should the town take a stronger leadership role? Housing, environmental management, tourism, business development.
I think the most important thing is we should take a very strong leadership and approach to our youth. We need to make sure that our youth are taken care of, that we provide the needs that they have. We listen to government says, oh, we're doing this, we're doing that. We have the youth center. 9 out of 10 times it's closed or understaffed. What happened to the ice hockey? It went down and we still haven't fixed it. We haven't made that a priority. We should make things that service our youth, and not only for youth that have strong family values, but also those youth that families are fragmented. Bring them together so that we can develop strong leadership within our own community. We also need to look at it from the government point of view to do things collectively. What I mean by that, we don't need cliques. A clique means that if you get 2 council persons to support you and you do everything, then the other 2 councilmen become irrelevant. So we need to do away with that. We serve the interest of the public and not the loyalty to the mayor or anybody else. It's you that we service. So we need to be able to do that. But it takes common sense and knowledge and understanding. You can't come in with an attitude that I'm going to do this, because remember this, we can't do anything unless the other members of the council and the mayor agree with it. So it has to be done, everything we do has to be done collectively, as long as it serves in the best interest of our youth and of our constituency. We cannot allow us to make decisions that affect you and then nothing is done about it, except we have an empty building, for example. Nobody knows what to do with it. So, thank you.
Mr. Namba, where do you believe the town of Taos can have the greatest influence or impact, and which areas should it take a stronger leadership role?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for that question. The examples that you gave were kind of a little bit more abstract. I was thinking I had to answer this in a little bit more concrete manner. There are a variety of services and such that is located within the town of Taos that is used by everyone in the county. So I'm thinking of things like the animal shelter. The town of Taos Fire Department covers a very large part of the county. Everyone from the county comes in and uses our library. If we get the recycling center, when we get the recycling center up again, people from the county come in and they use our recycling center, they use our parks. County kids come in and play sports at Kit Carson. We have the Youth and Family Center. These are things that are located within the town of Taos and things that we are responsible for and things that we care about that affect the larger community. And it's, I think, clear to me that we need to use these places and these services, and we need to ask for maybe for some financial help from the county, from other places, but in terms of where leadership happens in Taos, I envision it not in an abstract sense, but in this very real sense of things that which we can offer Taos County at a larger level. Thanks.
Ms. Trujillo, where do you believe that Taos can have the greatest impact and influence?
I went back to the drawing board and I looked at what makes the town of Taos as a government, and they have to establish again. They have to they adopted a mission statement, a vision statement, and shared values statement for the town of Taos, and they have a plan. And again, to move on with that plan, again, if you look at, the question is, which areas should the town take stronger leadership role? It's all of them, all the above. Housing, environmental management, tourism, business development. And the governments have developed these strategic goals, and the town has 7 of them. And they all encompass everything that their vision and their statement has outlined in this document, this resolution that they initiated. And but what I want to focus on is how important it is to collaborate with every so often the town and the county have joint meetings. And I would like to continue with that collaboration with the county commission to strengthen the town and the county partnership and relationship. The Land Use Development Code is being revised by the county, and the town will soon work on their revisions. As far as economic development, we should align the best practice or policies to attract businesses and make it easier for the permitting process. What I say is let there be effective oversight and transparency in everything that is done on all the issues. If I am elected to a position on the council, it would be my pleasure to collaborate with Taos County, Taos Pueblo, and Taos Municipal Schools. I will offer them my assistance with a service-type attitude. I will apply customer service, have an open-door policy, and would assist with whatever level of expertise is necessary. I look at what is before me, I separate any negative political agenda, and I take a professional approach to what is needed to be resolved and the task at hand. I am a good listener and very open to diverse perspectives. I will incorporate anything the Town of Taos Council has to teach me, and hopefully I have something valuable to contribute. And I would like to add that with Taos County, again, being retired, I made myself available to Taos County at whatever way I could serve them. And I was asked to go in and as a contract worker for a couple of months to help prepare the interim budget for the fiscal year 24-25. And again, it was a process, going through the town, establishing my home as a business. Again, it was done. And to me, it was something that proved to be successful for Taos County. And again, it was my pleasure to be available to do this for them.
Thank you. Billy Romero, what do you believe that where can Taos have the greatest influence? You know, housing, leadership, where is it at from you?
Well, I think one of the key things that we've got to do is we've got to start caring about our youth again. We got to start, that's one of the biggest things right now is we've got to make our kids feel valued in this town because they're going to be part of everything that this question has here, you know, business development, tourism, environmental management. So we've got to start there. It's embarrassing when you take a group of kids out there and they don't even know who our mayor is. Unlike you, Mayor, everybody knew who you were. You know, they don't know who half our council members are. So we've got to start, if you're going to be a leader, you've got to make yourself available out there. Environmentally, we've got a waste management, or the waste facility right now, the wastewater facility that has been in disrepair for years. I says now, because it's election time, we're starting to take a look at that. We've got to, tourism is is a driving factor for economics here in Taos. This is the reason that most people came here. This is the reason most people decided to move here. Trying to bring business in, we've got to make that, we've got to streamline that. We've got to make that easy, the process easier. We've got to, when it comes to building within the town limits itself, that's something that we cannot do because of the permitting process right now for building. But we've got to, when it comes to housing, we can continue to do what we've done. I've always thought that Taos has led the way when it comes to low-income housing. Now we've got to start looking at workforce housing. We've got to encourage developers to come into Taos and start looking at workforce housing. A lot of the young people, my son's age, all three of them, they don't want to own a home no more. They look at, they want somewhere to rent, somewhere affordable. Those are things that we've got to start looking at. And how do we streamline the process? And I think that moving forward, those are the key things. Once we start getting the foundation built, then the walls will go up easy. So we need to start somewhere. We need to streamline a lot of this thing that's happening in Taos. So thank you.
Yeah, and oftentimes people on the outside looking into government don't realize the complexity because you have legislators, you have a governor, you got the county, you got the acequias, you got the mayor, you got your fellow councilors, sister councilors. How do you envision, and let's just go back in the same order, how do you envision working with the mayor, the county commission, and the other regional and local partners? What will collaboration look like under your leadership? And I would add, particularly when there's disagreement. It's easy when you agree.
Well, I dwell on disagreement because I think positive things come out of that. I look forward to working with any mayor that's out there. I do offer a lot of experience with my background, with everything that I've done, with my experience within the state, within the county. I think that we need to all work together to make not only the town, but the county a better place, the state a better place. I think under any good government, you're going to bump heads with the guy in charge or the girl in charge. And so, I think that out of discussion, we can make things move forward in a positive direction. I think that if you have a council that works together instead of against each other, those are going to be the key things to making Taos thrive again. A lot of areas suffered because of COVID, and we're all on a rebound. So let's take that and let's stop looking back and blaming each other for what has happened. Let's move forward. Let's make everything happen in a positive direction. And working with council, working with your council members together, showing the community that we can unite ourselves with the mayor, supporting the decisions while having disagreements, and having a positive outlook on everything that we're doing is going to make Taos a better place.
Thank you. Mrs. Trujillo, what does collaboration look like under your leadership, particularly when people disagree?
I have to bring my experience into the equation because, again, I was held to a higher standard. I was held to a place of accountability, and to me, my service was to the in the county as finance director. It was to the commission, and to the manager, and again to those department heads. They were wanting to execute and provide the services that they provided every day. So my communication was to them, and the collaboration that went on with them was something that how I developed my skills, and that's to listen and to be able to bring what their perspective into a money format to make it work for them. And I gave them copies of their budget, their salaries, everything was very transparent. And then as a treasurer, I looked at, we were kind of on an even keel, but I always provided financial reports to them very simply. I always knew that, I learned that in accounting, that you don't make things confusing. You make things that are very clear and to the layman. That if they have to be able to understand what you're reporting. And to me, I always attempted to provide the best format for them to be able to understand what it was that I was explaining to them. And I developed investment policies. I put together the reporting that was that would make it very clear where the county stood in their financial status. In that development of the finance committee for the county, the same thing. I just brought in the manager, I brought in a commissioner, I brought in the finance director, and my staff to be able to, for them to learn what went on in that table, and bringing people to the table, helping them to understand how government works. You're leading, but you're also enabling others to learn from you, and to me. I always say two things: that you should always be a mentor and a protege. Those two things are important.
Thank you very much. And to certain, I'm understanding that as New Mexicans, we always agree on everything. But in the rare occasion where we don't agree, what would collaboration look like under your leadership?
We all know we are going into politics. Not everyone's going to be happy, and in fact, probably no one will be happy. From what I understand, the function of politics in terms of working through collaborations in the face of disagreement is turning the utterly intolerable to what is merely barely tolerable. And so I acknowledge that, and I see that moving forward. One thing that I would like to see happen more often is more county and town meetings, joint meetings, joint workshops. I also would like to, if we have the time, maybe town council can go sit in on some county commission meetings. Maybe county commissioners can come and sit in on our meetings. We need to meet each other where we're at and know where everything is going. And on a practical level, everything works better when we know each other and when we meet one another, because we are all neighbors. This is a small enough community where we can know each other and meet each other, and coming to some sort of consensus is gonna be easier when you know each other. And if you can't get along in terms of policy, if you can at least get along on some sort of personal level, this sounds kind of kumbaya, but I do mean it. I've actually really, this has been a very stressful experience running for a town council, but I have really appreciated and enjoyed meeting all the different people, my fellow candidates, people I've met today, other members of the community, and hearing what they had to say. So that has been fantastic. Thanks.
Thank you. Eugene Sanchez, what will collaboration look like under your leadership? How will you work with the county and all the various interests that come to City Hall, Town Hall?
Most of my time over the years I spent in decision-making organizations. And I believe I can work with most anyone, providing that we are able to communicate the issues. As a senior citizen, I know most of the county commissioners, I know their parents. Same thing with the town council, I know. So I think we need to be able to discuss the issues openly among ourselves in terms of being not only the town council, the county commissioners, we have also the Taos Valley, we have Cuesta. We need to be able to discuss the issues that affect not only Taos, but it affects the whole county. And we have to be open about it. And when we have an issue that affects you, we need to be able to research the issues and make sure that it serves your best interest at all times. And that is done collectively. We understand each other. We're going to disagree, but we agree to disagree. So it's not that very difficult to communicate and work with other people as long as we openly discuss the issues. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now go to audience questions. And Mr. Chairman, do you have the questions?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Of course, we have questions from the audience. We have two of them that came in, so you can decide which ones. Well, you can ask both of them. We will ask both
But
of them.
there's only two.
Yeah, there's only two of them, so they'll.
This is definitely local government. What's your position on the parking kiosks? And we'll start. What's your position on the parking kiosks? And Mr. Sanchez.
I'll be honest with you, that's a fiasco. We haven't reached the real problem as to what it does or does it work. I understand that it was supposed to generate millions of dollars of revenue, but right now I don't think it's collecting anything. Because the thing about it is, go down to the parking lot, the Catholic, there, and sit there for about half an hour, and you will see people there trying to figure out how to work. The other thing is interesting, how many, tourists have credit cards, and we all do. What about the elderly? Do they have a credit card? If they do they know how to use it in that machine? I have no idea. The other thing, what happened to the parking meter attendant? I understand that he has a machine that goes and checks license plates, and and then you cite it. Then you can pay it online. Get online, forget how to get in there. The other thing is that as the sitting one of the judges, municipal judge, we haven't received a parking ticket since they installed it. So we don't know where it's at. What I believe we should do is go back to the drawing board, get to the provider of the meters, explain to us exactly how it's going to work, and get the people educated to do it. Otherwise, it's going to continue to be a big problem.
Thank you. Tetsuro Namba, what about these parking kiosks?
You're going to hear a lot about these parking kiosks.
Apparently
while you're
so,
up
yeah.
here. Yeah.
I was going to say, let's limit it to 90 seconds, but this may require more time.
Yeah. So I would have preferred free parking. That's not where we're at now. Definitely the rollout of how the kiosks were handled could have been handled better by this administration. I understand that parking is a commodity. It's not free. We do lease out parking lots, and that is money coming out of the Town of Taos budgets. So there are parking lots that we pay for that can go towards things like parks, Little League. It's a complicated question, and I think moving forward, what we have to deal with is the reality that we have signed a contract with these vendors, and we are going to have to figure out what's the best way to move forward with that. I've heard a lot of different opinions and a lot of different proposed solutions. I haven't heard one that 100% convinces me yet. I look forward to muddling through this mess with whoever else was gonna end up with it.
Susan Trujillo, what about the parking kiosks? What's your position?
What I interviewed one of the business owners, and they said that the response that they're getting from some of their customers is these kiosks are confusing, and they're not user-friendly, and that would probably be something that the locals would say, and maybe other people that travel, that maybe to the other to the other cities, and huge parking areas that are designed for big events have kiosks, and they might be used to them, and they don't have issues with them, but you have to have a credit card to be able to put buy some time. And it's very different than what we used to have before, because we used to put a nickel or a dime or a quarter and just turn, and we'd have, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I can run and do this, and we didn't have to work. And then if you got a ticket, then you'd have to go and see the judge. But again, it was so simple. Life was so simple. Kiosks, technology is very complicated sometimes for a lot of people. But again, it could be something that we could get used to, but I'm sure that it's not going to go away, and we're going to have to go back to the drawing board and figure it out, because this type of service does generate revenues for the general fund, and it cannot be. There are anti-donation issues that come into play. So again, we have to go back to the drawing board and look at it again.
Billy Romero, what's your position on the parking kiosks?
Well, there's, the way that the town rolled them out was not really well thought out. Parking kiosks work well in big parking areas. I'd like to see us go back to maybe utilizing the parking meters. I understand that there's a contract that needs to be looked at and see how we could get out of it. The credit card fees there are kind of something that makes people want to get into the credit card processing business because of the difference from $1 to $2.50 for using your card. These kiosks are not going to go away. I think that there's a place for them. I'd like to see us go back to parking meters as they have in Santa Fe, around the plaza, and I think there's a spot for those there. Most businesses have to provide parking for their customers, as far as if you live outside or work outside of the historic district. So they're not going to go away. I think that we really got to look at what contract that this administration got us into, and seeing, is there a way out of it? And maybe looking back around the plaza and going into the simple things like Mr. Hill said here, putting a quarter in, or even utilizing them. I go down to Nob Hill quite a bit, and you can use your card there, and there is parking meters there. They seem to work fine. I just think that the kiosks, the way that they rolled them out, is not really the right way.
Do you want me to ask this last question? It'll be interesting to see how good these candidates are, what kind of politicians they are. Here we go. Our final question. Which of the mayoral candidates would you be most comfortable working with? And we're going to start with you.
I wish
Mr.
I was
Romero.
running for mayor, because I'd say myself right now. I think we've got to be open to whoever's going to be mayor. We all have our opinion, and Mayor, you know that we don't let those secrets out when we're asked those in public, unless we're sitting around the mayor. But right now, there's two candidates in here, so we can't answer that. But I think we're going to, I'll be happy to work with whoever gets into office, and that's going to be decided here in a few weeks.
Very politic. Ms. Trujillo, which of the mayoral candidates do you feel most comfortable working with?
We are a very small community, and all the mayor candidates I consider my friends, and I love them dearly, and I respect each of them for putting themselves out there to run for mayor. And it is a huge, huge commitment and a huge responsibility, and I commend them for it, as is, again, what we're sitting here. I just have such respect for these men sitting alongside of me, and again, I have enough respect that they run a good race. The mayors are running an excellent race, and they bring, again, I just love listening to what they bring to the table, and I love the table of what politics is. But my definition of politics for the mayors and for the council is that it's just a process by which the people have an opportunity to elect someone to represent them in government.
Ted Namba, do you want to join your colleagues up here and not answer the question?
Right.
Go ahead. Which of the mayoral candidates you feel most comfortable working with, or as mayor, would you feel most comfortable working with?
I've met all the mayoral candidates. They all seem like great people. It's really clear that every one of them really, truly cares for the future of our community and wants what is best. I believe policy-wise, I think that I would get along best with Dan Baroni or Marietta Fambro.
There we go. Mr. Sanchez, which of the mayoral candidates would you feel most comfortable working with?
That's a very tricky question. Let me just say this, Dan Baroni is a good friend of mine. Mayor, Judy Cantu's dad was the mayor and a good friend of mine. Mrs. Fambro's ex-husband was my protege. We officiated for 20 years together. The young lady in front of you, we had some acquaintance, but still consider her my friend. The issue is not which one you want to work with. It's which one wants to work to serve the best interest of the community. That's who I will support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're going to go to closing statements, 90 seconds each. And I believe, Mr. Chairman, we started with Mr. Romero before, right? So we're going to go in reverse order and go to Eugene Sanchez first. But what are your final thoughts for voters? What do you want to share with folks? And what do you hope to accomplish if elected? What's the vision you have for Taos' future? What's the vision you have for Taos' future? 90 seconds.
I guess the last question is, what's your vision for Taos?
The thing is that both? Okay, well, what's my vision for Taos, for the town of Taos? I think the thing about it is to be united as a community. That's important. Do I have a closing statement? No. If you think I can do the job, vote for me. But yet, there's still a lot of issues that we still haven't addressed. Like, crime. We have a big problem with crime. We have to fund our fire department adequately. We need to be able to do all those things collectively again, using the word collectively. We need to do that. And like I say, I got 90 minutes to talk about what? The thing about it is that if I say, okay, this is what I'm going to do in my closing statement, I feel kind of bad because it's like saying goodbye. I'm going to be still here, and I'm willing to serve you if you think I can do the job.
Tetsuro Namba, you're closing, 90 seconds.
I began tonight by describing how it felt to move back to Taos and how special it is and what a wonderful place it is. As long as I can remember, I've always heard that Taos is growing, that it is always growing. I've heard when I was a kid, it's getting too big. When I was a young adult, it's getting too big. Growth is something that we have to acknowledge is happening and will continue to happen. What we need to do is make sure that we can move forward and maintain our identity as a community, our history. We have to make sure that we respect it and that we work in the tradition that we have had and move forward and grow with it. As for myself, I'm asking you for your vote, and I'm just going to end and say I'm going to be honest with you, as I was earlier. I'm not going to promise something that I'm not going to follow through on. I'm not going to say something to your face and then do something behind your back. I believe in everything I say. And thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trujillo.
In thinking about all of this, I wrote a paper, and I kind of just go on and I add to it because I have all these thoughts that I'm experiencing through the journey of even running for office. And one of the things that I did write was, an effective Town of Taos Council member can leave a legacy of good works and make an impact on people's lives. It is the closest level of government to the people and one that provides the greatest challenges while building a sure foundation and a model that creates leaders for the future. Servant leaders and leadership, leading by example. But I would like to say, but I had another thought, and that was something that came out last night, and that was, again, the plaza, the town of Taos, Taos County, Taos as a whole, it has a persona of friendliness, culture, heritage, being happy, we want it healthy, we want it clean, we want a facelift. That's all he needs is a facelift. And music, good food, and conversation, and an appreciation for one another. And again, we're known for being sometimes not a handshake, but maybe just a smile and a hug, or whatever makes you comfortable. Again, we're here to offer that to one another, and let's develop that relationship with one another in our community and do the best that we can offer. But the town of Taos, and is from my memories, it's a happy place. I have such good memories. It's my home. I love my home, but Taos and Taos County and the town of Taos is my home, and I want to serve in my home.
Thank you, Billy Romero. Your closing argument or statement? Yeah. I was a lawyer for a while.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you to my family. They've stood behind me every time I made a decision to do this. I think that's the foundation of Taos, is family. That's what we were known for, bringing community together. I think at one point, Taos was a big family. We all knew each other. We all passed each other on the road, and we all waved. Sometimes with a middle finger, but we waved. So I think that we got to bring that unity back together, back to Taos. We got to start showing that our young people belong here. We got to show that we care about them. We've got to show that when we go out to Little League games, hockey games, bring back a lot of what community was, our fiestas back in Taos, the farmers market. Those are the visions that I see for Taos. Once we start bringing those back, we are going to have that camaraderie that we used to have, that, as Susan says, the hug or whatever it is, a virtual hug. But, we can bring that back. We can have that again. And we can show tourists that we are a community united and that we're going to move forward. There's 4 people out here that we are showing how much we care for this community. And there's 4 people running for mayor. What I'm going to tell the people out there is, if you feel that we can do a good job, if you feel that we are the person that you need, look at our record, look at what we have. And when you're voting for somebody, look for somebody that has done positive things for Taos. And if you think I'm that person, and I know I am, please vote for me. And at the same time, I want to say thank you to everybody that's showed up here and decided to put their name in for this, because it's not easy. And thank you guys, and thank you guys for coming and caring enough to come out here.
And I'll just add my 2 cents. Every community is a product of decisions. Everything you see around you in Taos, in New Mexico, in this country, are product decisions that people have made, and these are the folks that are going to be making those decisions. It's extraordinarily important and extraordinarily difficult. And so I want to thank everyone for coming out, certainly thank the county party for hosting this event. These conversations are our future. They're who we are, and the fact that you took the time to come out tonight tells me that you care. I will tell you this. My family's from the Rio Bajo, from Magdalena, Socorro, Limitar, that area. I'm born and raised in Albuquerque. But when we look at Taos, and this is an outsider looking in, Taos is revered around the state. And we look to Taos because it's the heart and soul of who we are as New Mexicans. So thank you all for running. Thank you all for being here. Mr. Chair, I don't know if you had anything else.
Thank you very much. We want to thank Mr. Martin Chavez. Thank you. Big round of applause for Martin Chavez.
Yeah.
Gracias, former Mayor of Albuquerque. Gracias, Mayor. And I want to thank everybody that come out. We are the Taos County Democratic Party. Thank you very much.
No. You do really well. It's almost like you've done this before.
Thank you for having it.